Court, please come to order. Court is present. Legal notices have been posted. This court is duly called. Can I get a motion to open the court?
Second.
A motion and a second to open the court. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Chairs in the affirmative. Will the bailiff please open the court?
All right. The Dallas County Commission Court is now in session for the month of November 2013 term with the Honorable Judge Jenkins presiding. Please remain standing for the invocation.
And our invocation today will be given by Bishop Douglas Deschanel. He's the auxiliary bishop of Dallas, Vicar General, moderator of the Curac for the Diocese of Dallas. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from the Holy Trinity Seminary and a Master of Divinity from the University of Dallas. In 2010, he was ordained into the Cathedral Shrine of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Guadalupe by Auxiliary Bishop for the Diocese of Dallas, Bishop Kevin J. Farrell. He is pastor of St. Joseph's in Richardson, and he is a vibrant member of our community, reaching out all over the community to Catholics and non-Catholics to better their lives. And he's my friend, and I appreciate you coming today.
Thank you, Judge, and good morning. Let us pray. Heavenly Father of all that is good, send your blessings upon all gathered for this meeting. Endow our elected officials with your wisdom and light. May they seek the common good of all they are elected to serve. Give them zeal to build a community of justice and charity for all in need. May their motivations be pure and directed toward serving all in our county. As we prepare to observe the tragic event of November 22nd, 1963, lead us to renew the vision and ideals of President John Kennedy. May good triumph over evil as we rededicate ourselves to the service of others, caring for the needs of those in need and struggling to defend the rights of the oppressed. Give us the strength we need to make our community a shining light for all to see. Let no one want for food, clothing, shelter, education, and health care. Because of our efforts, we make our prayer to you, God of all who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
Resolution this morning and the motions from Commissioner Gilbert. Judge and Commissioners, it's a privilege today to recommend the resolution for Harold Denny. And Harold, if I need you to come up and everybody that's with you, I know we have in the audience today Jim Jackson, our former colleague, who served for many years. Also served as well in the legislature as a state representative, served as chair. Now, I'll read the resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Dallas County Commissioners Court takes special notice when an employee is honored and recognized for their outstanding achievements and notable accomplishments. And whereas on November 1st, 2013, Dallas County employee Harold Denny was inducted into the Texas Tech University Hall of Fame for his phenomenal collegiate basketball career. We'd never guessed that at your high school. Playing as a center, Harold was a 3-year starter with 69 consecutive starts. As a sophomore, he averaged 12 points per game. As a junior, he averaged 17.7 points per game. And as a senior, he averaged 17.5. He was also awarded the NCAA All-District 6 first team honors from 1963 to 1964 and 1964 to 1965. And also played in the East-West All-Star in 1965 with basketball greats such as Rick Barry, Billy Cunningham, and Gail Goodrich. And whereas born on January 12, 1943, Harold grew up in Amarillo, Texas, and went on to attend Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas, During his stellar basketball career, he earned a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Industrial Management with a minor in Industrial Engineering. Before coming to work for Dallas County, Harold worked in outside sales for Motorola Communications and Electronics in the Texas Panhandle area. Worked for Auditing, Accounting, and Computing Systems in Dallas. Worked with Data Forms and Systems Inc. in Lubbock and with AT&T in Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages, servicing between West Texas and the Dallas area. And whereas Harold started his career with Dallas County in 1997, where he worked as an executive assistant for 7 years for former County Commissioner Jim Jackson of District 1. After Commissioner Jackson was elected as a state representative, Harold stayed with Dallas County as contracts manager in the Health and Human Services Department. A year later, he then found his current position as income supervisor in the district clerk's office, where he has served for the past 8 years. And whereas Harold's induction into the Texas Tech Hall of Fame is evidence of one man's dedication and commitment to teamwork and success, the values instilled in him have established Harold as a great asset and a strong resource for Dallas County employees and citizens alike. In addition to his recent induction, Harold has also been inducted into the Texas Panhandle Sports Hall of Fame, member of the Texas Tech Raiders Club and the Texas Tech Varsity Club, and a member of the Phi Delta Theta fraternity. He and his wife, Claudia, whose birthday is today, of 46 years, are members of the First Baptist Carrollton and had 2 adult children and 5 grandchildren. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and congratulate Harold Benny on his induction into the Texas Tech University Hall of Fame and further express his best wishes and continued success in the many years to come. And I so move.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and thank you very much, Mr. Head, and members of the court. I'd like to introduce some people with me. My wife, Claudia, who you've already heard about. Terry Bauer, GM Advertising, for law. Of course, everybody in here probably recognizes Commissioner Donald Jim Jackson, Don Wimberly, his wife Janie, and Drew Jackson. Thank you very much for being here. Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back. I'd like to just have Jim Jackson say a few words. I know he wants to say a few words too.
Dallas County's lucky to have Harold. I was lucky to have him for 7 years working for me. He did a fantastic job as my executive assistant, some of you will remember. And he is a dear friend, a fellow warrior in Christ, and good man. I'm just privileged to know, privileged to, well, let's speak this way. God has blessed me and Sue with our friendship with Harold. Thank you, Harold.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I have our second resolution, and we move for its adoption. And the resolution reads as follows. Whereas his inaugural inauguration speech on January 20, 1961, President John F. Kennedy challenged Americans to a higher level of concern and action for their neighbors in one of his most famous statements. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That sentiment of duty through service became a hallmark of his brief tenure as president. And whereas on November 22nd, 1963, during a visit to Dallas, his life tragically ended. This Friday will mark 50 years since his untimely death and provides Dallas County with the opportunity to corporately honor the life and legacy of President Kennedy through multiple service opportunities in Dallas County. And whereas earlier this year, all cities, school districts, and political subdivisions within Dallas County were asked to organize and implement, perform service projects in their respective areas on that day to honor the life and legacy of President Kennedy and highlight the strength and diversity of our county. Whereas the decision to honor President Kennedy's life with service projects throughout Dallas County provides every resident, those who were present on that fateful day, as as well as those yet unborn, the opportunity to participate in some meaningful tribute, free from political messaging or any other attempt to usurp this historic moment in its great sentiment. And whereas the President's own words at the conclusion of that historic inaugural speech serve as a basis for this day of service. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us the same high standard of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With good conscience, our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking His blessings and His help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court is hereby established Thursday, November 21st, 2013, as Ask Not, the Dallas County Day of Service, and encourage all Dallas County residents to find some meaningful way to incorporate the spirit of service that best describes the late President's life into their planned activities for this day, as we and the rest of the world prepare to observe His untimely passing from this life. That's so moved. All those in favor? Aye. And that motion carries unanimously as well. We do have dozens of service projects in many of our cities. I want to thank everyone in the county who is participating in that, and not to single anybody out, but I got a cool picture yesterday from the juvenile department who's made up shirts, and I understand shirts are on the way that were designed by Shay Cathy from Parkland Hospital for the other volunteers out there. Could be anyway. I hadn't talked to Parkland in the last 24 hours. So thanks everybody for their hard work on that. This takes us to our consent agenda, item H. So we have Commissioner Cantrell moves. Is there a second?
The employee replacement of solid adjustments that needs to be extracted from the motion.
Wait a minute.
So did you get that?
And if you want to read the bind, really, you just pull the Jason Harvey. That's the one on it. Good. So, I think you're speaking.
You need to pull the number, or you can notate it. Anyway, you understand? Yes, we're going to pull, notate 7. It is 7. Right. 7. That's it. Okay, you did J. You say that? Yes. That's fine. We all understand what you mean. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the consent agenda pulling 7 notated as J. signify by saying aye. And, motion carries unanimously. All right. Take is there a motion on 7 from the agenda? I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Plenty of discussion. It's interesting to listening to the minister this morning talk about what some of us have referred to as Camelot, then and now. And I want to begin by saying almost 9 years ago when Sheriff Lupe Valdez was sworn into office. We were very proud. After a protracted history of good old boy politics that dominated the Dallas County Sheriff's Department, we thought that a new day had finally arrived. Sheriff Valdez is one of the few female sheriffs in the state of Texas and one of a few of Hispanic heritage and a self-proclaimed champion for the fight of full inclusion. Some of you may have forgotten, but the scars of that historic victory are still apparent to me. This community, out of 658,171 votes, elected Lupe Valdez by 18,000 votes, less than 3%. And I might say, regardless of what anyone says, without the African American community, for which she has forsaken today, she would never have had the privilege of sporting the stars and the chevrons of uniform that she wears daily. It was a great time. It was, for all intents and purposes, a Camelot for Dallas County. It saddens me that on the eve of the commemoration of the despicable death of our favorite president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, we too again must realize that Camelot is not our reality. Camelot may be rich with promise, all of the promise that came in the 12th century when King Arthur and his court said that they could be lost, but all of the expectation and all of the potential for progress for the 21st century, Camelot has somehow now been eroded. This issue is not solely about race for race's sake, but in a community of 2.3 million people in Dallas County, I find it hard to believe that we continue to do anything less than provide full representation in every elected and appointed capacity. This week, I'm sorry to say, my community has suffered two delusions of Camelot. One is the inevitable memory of history, the other, an avoidable miscalculation. There are a number of individuals who are both academically credentialed and having served in this department with distinction, who are similar and are equally and maybe even superiorly qualified to be in this position. You say it has nothing to do with quotas. Everything in this department has had to do with quotas. We didn't ask for all 7 of the appointments. All we ask is for what some of us consider to be minimum in terms of what the last 3 decades, unfortunately, has produced at what some of us consider to be apparently the glass ceiling. I just find it interesting at this particular moment in history, a Hispanic sheriff can say that this individual, given a number of the individuals that are in this department, are in fact the most qualified to serve this department. And having been there for the last 28 years, having seen all of the sheriffs of which I speak, I find that to be nothing short of ludicrous, and therefore will not be supporting this. There is no supplement or substitute for a sworn officer that has a track outside of the sheriff's department. Yesterday there was a CJAB meeting, 28 sheriffs, 28 chiefs, 1 African American. the only one in the sheriff's department. There is no track outside of the sheriff's department except that you are a sworn officer. And so for that reason, I will not be supporting this promotion. And there is a speaker on this. Number 2, Lieutenant.
Oh, I'm sorry, why is that? Lieutenant, please come forward. Will the bailiff please read the rules of decorum for our speakers?
All Commissioner Court attendees are hereby advised that this meeting is conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are to preserve order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Any and all applause is to be kept brief and observance of time constraints. Disruptive visitors and/or registered speakers may be removed and are subject to the penalties provided in the State of Texas Penal Code, Section 3813, 4201, and 4205. Registered individual speakers are limited to a minimum or maximum of 3 minutes, and the maximum discussion on any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
Lieutenant, we've got a new system. I'm going to kind of go through how it works. If we could get the red lights and the stoplight up there. Up here on these screens above us, you're going to, there you go. You see that light? When you begin to speak, you'll state your name and your address, and you'll start speaking, and the time will begin to run. The light will be green. It'll go on once you say your name and address. When you got, 30 seconds left, Shannon? Yellow at 30. It used to be we had that clock, but now we have yellow at 30, so you just begin to kind of, wrap up, and then when it goes red, just go ahead, you don't have to just stop talking, but go ahead and finish your sentence and your thought when you see it turn red, okay? And I've got one on my screen here, so I'll be watching with. So it's not the clock anymore, it's that, and that'll help you some. It's kind of new, we haven't really got it down yet. All right, so with that said, just state your name and your address. You'll see the stop light come on.
First of all, thank you. I am Frederick Robinson, Lieutenant with the Sheriff's Office, and I am currently the President of the Dallas County Peace Officers Association. And with that being said, the Dallas County Peace Officers Association is a labor organization within the Sheriff's Department. The bulk of our constituents are African Americans, and we are hardworking, educated, and professional. The Sheriff's Department has over 2,000 employees. Over 60% of them are African American. I'll put it like this. We're the ones who are pulling the wagon. In the deputy management ranks, there are 14 lieutenant's positions, 8 captain's positions. Out of the 14 lieutenant's positions, 6 are African American, and out of the 8 captain positions, 2 are African American. We have bachelor's degrees, we have master's degrees. I think we can pass any management, commander, or executive class or school. My question is, what qualification is the sheriff saying that we don't have or we can't get? We are running units, we're running shifts, we're running divisions. Now again, tell me, how are we not qualified to be a chief? Since Sheriff Valdez has been here, she's promoted only 3 people from within the Sheriff's Department. She has only promoted 2 African Americans, period. One from outside the department, one from inside the department. Like most of the employees of the Sheriff's Department, I thought that African Americans would make significant progress under Sheriff Valdez. compared to the last administration. Well, under the last administration, we had 2 African American chiefs. We did not have near as many African American lieutenants or captains. As of now, yet we have 2 African American chiefs in that last administration. The signal that I get from the sheriff is that we can hire as many blacks as we want, but we can't occupy the high positions. In essence, we can pull the wagon, but we can't drive. There's only one other thing that I take exception to with the sheriff. She said that she promoted the best qualified person. How would she know? When the position was never vetted, she did not post the position. Therefore, how can she say that she promoted the best qualified person? She did not look at anyone else's qualification. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have no further speakers. Are there any comments from the commissioners?
I think the comment from Lieutenant Robinson speaks for itself. I mean, that's what I said all along. It's within her purview, and I recognize that. Not trying to micromanage any department within this county. But when individuals are not appointed but are elected with a certain constituency, I think that constituency should have some expectation in terms of being included in terms of the decision making within that department. And so therefore, I think that he packaged it perfectly. And that's what I'm saying. It's her thought. And when you look at those other 3 angles, the angles that she's brought in, even if you look at just that clue, African Americans, credential-wise, within this department, did not have to learn it, been there 10 years plus.
Just a call question.
Question's been called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Yeah, the ayes have it on 3-1 vote. Our next issue is item.
And let me just say, you're right, it is not about race, but I think you get elected in the Democratic Party.
Our next issue is item 9. We have court, I'll take a motion on court orders 2 through 20, pulling 1, and that's it.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Motion from Commissioner Cantrell, second from Commissioner Daniel. And is there any discussion on court orders I-2 through 20?
Court order I-11 is, are we sure that is this particular formula continuing to work for the department and the best interest of IDQ? AE IDQ work order number 10, is that yours?
No, it's
Shannon. That's your Shannon.
well, it's kind of registered. It's kind of, yeah. Yes, the IDIQ process works very well for all the departments to do public works operations.
Judge, I have a question on number 5. I made the motion, Darrell, on these court orders, and particularly on court number 5, where you're talking about the master claims, that's out there. And if you look at the Moody Nolan, I just want to go on record, I want it on record that I do not support the feasibility of constructing a new building. Right. And that's it's in there, it's in Moody Nolan's letter to Darrell. I just want to get that on record.
It's not in my package.
It's part of the scope of work.
That's brought it up,
And the actual, what
what we're going to do, what we ask them to do is provide us options. So you're right, any option that we do within the Commissioners Court be voted on by Commissioners Court. But what we ask them to do is provide as many options as possible, and that's
and I understood that, and I just want to make sure it's on the record on number 7 it's on page 3 of the Moody Nolan deal where it talks about strategizing alternatives, new versus renovation, to include considerations for pre-development costs, relocation costs, parking costs. I believe our courthouses need to be downtown Dallas, not somewhere else. So I just want to go on record saying.
Question on the same item. When Crowley is mentioned, is it only unallocated space?
Well, I took into account the discussion we had last week, but we can expand that. What I'll do is when we meet with them to do the scope of work, we can talk about some of the space that also needs to be renovated, which is what I think your point was last week, particularly the jury room, which has some issues with it. So we'll actually add that. I think I shared with you, and I think I shared with Commissioner Cantrell, that the kickoff meeting will be with the space allocation committee that you set up last week. That includes myself, the purchasing director, the budget officer, and facilities director, and operations director. And we'll have that kickoff and off meeting. We'll develop a full scope of work, which we'll share with the commissioners at that time.
Thank you very much.
I'll make this comment about that since it's been brought up. In a county where 28% of our people are uninsured, where 1 in 4 kids go to bed at night with food insecurity, where a third of our citizens brush up against poverty at least once a year. My mind is open to looking at any study. It's highly unlikely I'll be voting for building an expensive government building. Rather, I'd see us put what dollars we have into infrastructure, particularly south of I-30. The infrastructure I'm talking about is roads and water lines, so we can create good jobs and put what money we have into public health, because those are the two things that our citizens would most directly benefit from, pushing healthcare out into the community. I'm talking about building more community-oriented primary care clinics and partnering. Building that water line that Commissioner Price and I have talked about until we're blue in the face, and we're going to get this done, and building those roads that we talked about. But having said that, my mind is open to looking at what the study comes back with. Any other comment on any of these things? Okay. So you want to call the question?
No questions, call.
All right. Question has been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next is the time-sensitive court orders.
Yeah, you want to move to one, which is.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You excluded one, I don't know what.
Yeah, did we get that? Something wrong with that? We got the vote. I'm just trying to get the machine. You got it? We're good? Ready to go? I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, so next is our time-sensitive court orders. Is there a motion on the time-sensitive court orders, J1 through 4?
Yeah, J1 through 4. I'm with approval.
I'll second, but I do want, on J2, the issuance of the Dallas County Hospital District bonds. Mr. Brooke, won't you come forward?
Yes, sir.
So that the record will be real clear, and I think that, is this the place say I told you so or what?
It may be. It may be.
So I want you to explain for the record why we're amending the order 2013-1625, authorizing the issuance of Dallas County Hospital District bonds.
Right, Judge, Commissioners, this is to amend the court order previously adopted, authorizing the remaining voted authorization of the Dallas County Hospital District tax and revenue bonds. As you know, we voted these in 2008, and in 2009, the bonds were a large issue of bonds were issued. There's a remaining small amount to be issued. The bonds were, the 2013 bonds were structured exactly the way they were in 2009. The Attorney General had some concerns that there was no revenue pledge of parking revenues. Remind the court that the original idea, as I understand it, was to finance the parking garage with a subsequent series of bonds. The Board of Managers of Parkland decided that for purposes of cost efficiency and construction timing, instead of issuing a separate issue of bonds, to build that parking garage out of cash, which they had. The parking garage was built and is functioning today. Instead of issuing bonds then for the parking garage, for which there would obviously be a pledge of parking revenues, they paid for it out of cash. We're coming up with this final bond issue to complete the construction of Parkland. We put a nominal revenue pledge like we did in 2009. The Attorney General felt that consistent with what was said in the 2008 election documents, that we should go ahead and make that pledge. We've been advised that it has no economic impact on Parkland or its finance plan, does not result in any negative aspects in terms of the rating, or will have an effect on the underwriting of the bonds. It's somewhat of a wash, but it is, as Commissioner Price pointed out, I believe, at the last meeting, consistent with what was in the 2008 order.
So then what's the change? The Attorney General's?
We're pledging up to a maximum of $3 million parking revenue bonds, parking revenues to the bonds, in addition to the tax levy.
Not additional pledge. If the AG is making an additional pledge.
Well, no, the AG basically takes us back where I said in the last meeting, which was my concern, is what we had in the covenant for those particular amount. So it's maintenance and operate, it's basic. I'm fine with it. I just want to do your clerk for the purpose of the record.
It's basically you're taking up to $3 million and using that to pay debt service.
Right.
And of course, then that $3 million is less that amount of money for operations. So if you add them all together, it's subtraction, it's zero. But Commissioner Price is absolutely correct. Okay, thank you.
The question that Senator West here, Mr. Henderson.
I'm here as an attorney, not as a
No, I'm also.
And the reality is that you have a different interpretation. In 2009, when we went to the Attorney General's office, $500,000 was sufficient in terms of relation. So you had a change in leadership in that particular division that's now responsible. So we went based on what happened last time we had representations to the court. But subsequent to that, having a conversation with the Attorney General's office, so that's not required.
Thank you.
Also here today is Ron Davis, the first Southwest, who is a lead Parkinson's advisor, as well as a close personal family friend of me and my wife. All right.
Let me just say, purpose.
But he had that job before I got here.
I'm trying. Purchasing, the real estate broker contract is on before us today. Is that team, are they here?
Yes, sir. The team that will be representing the county is here.
We're here.
CBRE and their partner, again, with Jen George, Stan McClure, and Mark Garden.
Okay.
So they are going to hit the ground running for us on some disposition of properties. And we're excited to have them on board as an extension of our real estate business.
Okay, good. Because we've got some issues, some contracts. At some point in time, I want I want court staff tell us where we are. I expect them to hit the ground running, but there is a concern that we have in regards to a property. And they need to know that, and we need to be moving forward because it's a lot of hold up. That thing has at least been in the queue for too long. Exactly. Okay, thank you. Call the question.
Question's been called. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Briefing session, Mr. Martin, will you please lead us to the briefing session?
Morning, Judge Commissioner. Your first item is a presentation on the Horseshoe Project. I believe we have some folks from TechStops here and also some contractors. I'm going to ask Ms. Alberta Blair to do some introductions.
Judge and Commissioners, we're happy here to give a presentation on the Horseshoe Project, and actually one thing that we started realizing here is that we have many of the county facilities in this area will be impacted by the work that will be done on the Horseshoe Project. Additionally, we are recognizing the fact that we have approximately about 6 projects in which we have county dollars that are going to be utilized throughout this region around the particular project. With that, we're going to do a presentation. We have Bill Hill is here. I see Bill is still here with TxDOT. And we have Katrina Keys here with TxDOT and with PLC to do our presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Katrina.
Good morning. Y'all can hear me well. My name is Katrina Keys, Public Relations Director for the Horseshoe Project, and we want to give you an overview of the project this morning so you know what's going on and construction progress. Great. First, I want to discuss why this project is needed in the area. And of course, the Horseshoe Project is the I-30, I-35E roadway that TxDOT owns down here in the Mixed Master. The American Automotive Association named the Dallas Mixed Master as one of the 10 worst commuting spots in the nation.
Number 3. You know who else is number 3? Yeah, there you go.
And approximately 500,000 vehicles go through the Mixed Master every weekday for work and other reasons. Also, the roadway geometry needs to be improved because of the large number of vehicles going through this area. Sometimes it can be unsafe. And then the Mixed Master, the Horseshoe Project runs over many bridges along the roadway in I-30 and I-35E. Many of these bridges were built in the 1930s and 60s and are deteriorating and need to be replaced and improved. And then, of course, we have some direct connects that need to be implemented in the project. Along I-30 going eastbound to I-35 going southbound, we will have a direct connect. Also, I-35 northbound going I-30 westbound. And so for the Horseshoe Project, we will replace many of the bridges on I-30 and I-35B going across the Trinity River, construct additional lanes to increase capacity on the roadway, update the outdated roadway geometry to improve safety throughout the Mixed Master, create new connects for I-30 and I-35B, construct the signature Margaret McDermott Bridge along I-30 crossing or going over the Trinity River, and increase overall mobility and safety in the corridor. The project team includes TxDOT, who is the owner of the roadway, then Pegasus Link Constructors is the design builder, and that's a partnership between Floor and Balfour Beatty Infrastructure.
Before you go any further, is that it? Those are the what?
TxDOT is the owner, and Floor, Balfour Beatty Partnership, Pegasus Link Constructors is the design builder of the project.
Where is the procurement with regards to the design bid? Where is the minority procurement in terms of the design?
For the project so far, we have 32 disadvantaged business enterprise firms on the project with contracts. That totals to $45 million right now, contracted to DBEs, and that's probably about 6% of the project right now. And we're at 10% completion of the project, so we have more contracts to procure throughout the rest of this year and next year.
So you got an $800 million project. You got 6%.
Currently, yes.
What's your
And you got 10% of the project that you complete.
The goal from TechStat is 8%.
Excuse me?
The goal from TechStat is 8%.
Wait a minute. Now, maybe I'm sorry. The goal is 8%?
Correct, Commissioner.
It's more than 10%. Excuse me. I don't need to talk to you. Mr. Hale, I need to talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody TechStat or someone else. I mean, you're the PR person. Now, I need to talk to somebody. I need to figure out why. Bill?
Yes.
8%?
Yes.
And where did that magic number come from?
The requirements required by federal and state requirements for the goals that are set up for the project.
The goals what?
For disadvantaged businesses set up for a project. Utilizing federal and state money, there is a goal that's set up for commercially useful, functional, disadvantaged businesses to perform this project.
And that's the maximum goal, 8%?
That's the floor.
That's the floor.
Okay.
Okay. Now, where do you anticipate being with this project?
I anticipate well north of that.
Sir?
Well north of 8%.
Yeah, okay. But North didn't tell me anything. Now, I know we're not setting goals, but tell me, where do you anticipate being on an $800 million project?
We are working to increase the number of disadvantaged businesses in this area, utilizing an initiative that involves the city, the county, the state, and the different agencies. The intent is to try to increase it to a number that is higher in this area. The available disadvantaged businesses performing the type of work in the project out here is such that it's strained in the area because we have so much work in the area going on. We have the LBJ Freeway project, we have this project, we have the I-35B project. All those projects are available disadvantaged businesses in this area. We are working under an initiative that we work with the Senator West in this area to increase the numbers throughout this entire operation. The number is rising. We have worked over the last year and a half to get that operation moving north, and identify and increase the number of all contractors, but particularly disadvantaged businesses in this area, and introduce them to the projects we have right now.
And Bill, our main opportunity, is that going to be towards 40% on in the construction phase to get more business in?
The businesses is as high as you can go. We're back to go as high as we can get the number out there. So we increase the numbers available for the commercial useful businesses. There are other elements in the HUB arena, which is vendors and different other groups that work in the area. They can be hired for the project. But the goals that we're talking about are the number of contractors that can be available for the type of work. There are other suppliers, different ones that can be part of the operation. Those are HUB, the DUB programs, the federal and state requirements that handle the contracting element in the project.
Yeah, and this follows what we're talking about with our bonding programs and our other NWD programs with Senator West as well in the Senate and we're working on. So I had misunderstood just a moment ago. It's an 8% floor, and we're going to do everything that we can to get that number as high as we can, but you're not authorized to say what we're shooting for.
That's correct. It goes as high as we can.
But then also that could create impact by the subcontractors on the inside, right?
That's correct. The subcontractors make up
So we're looking also at the total across the board
That's correct.
participation in projects.
Since the resources are so strained, what is it on LBJ at this point? What
About 12%.
About 12%? And what percent of that project is completed?
About 50%.
And so given that strata, what do you anticipate on LBJ.
Over 12%.
You add 12%, you anticipate over 12%, but you're 50-something completed.
On these road projects, what we found in NTTA is our opportunity to really increase short run MWD participation was towards the end of the project because of the number of contractors that did the underlying structural aspect of it. We had less people competing there than we did at the end of the project. But you'd expect to see those numbers going up at about 40% of the project, right? And rising up, and then 8%, you'd expect to see it go up some more.
There's two elements there, and back to the ATV, which is contractors and different groups that go in there.
Exactly.
The available contractors in the area is based on the number of available contractors. That's prepared by our Office of Civil Rights and our division in Austin, and they canvass an area where we're available contractors. And the intent is to try to get it easier to get in there. We're working with that to try to get it easier to get qualified or recertified.
NTTA is not a good analogy.
One opportunity that I know has been being discussed at COG, as well as, matter of fact, we were beginning to have some discussions with Court Nov and with MWD office here, is to work closely with TxDOT on the training program that's identified. They're going to present part of that as part of the presentation here, but that we would work closely as well with them because, as Bill mentioned, the opportunities are, that's the issue here is we have a lot of construction projects that are going on throughout the whole region, and how training opportunities can be involved on many of the projects. I know on 175 that's discussed right now, but that would be also looked at closely here on the Horseshoe Project, especially with our participation being here as well.
And TxDOT, you've been a good partner on that. Alberta and others pushed for and got $2 million from you for a job training program in South Dallas that will help us tremendously with that. And you've done some good things. It is obviously very important to us, as you can see, in a county that is 43% Hispanic, 21% African American.
Do the math. That's called 63%. That's exactly right. And when you look at it again, I'm back to those NTTA numbers. And you talk about $2 million. This is an $800 million project.
Over $800 million.
My point is that got $2 million, and they were basically queuing most of that money toward 175, and that's them right. But for the most part, come on, that's been 6%, and he said 8% is kind of the floor, and we make it north of that. No, it's not nobody's ready for a benevolent society. Again, I'm back to that NTTA presentation in this courtroom. And the only someone who did not seem to be progressing based on their disparities, their numbers, not mine, was African American, or somebody who had lost, and had the available resource pool. Those numbers were 34% available. And they had done less than something like 2%. It's just insanity. But nobody can find anybody. And I know we ain't got no quota system. But you ain't having no problem finding nobody else. It's just a DBE, right? Just a DBE, right? Yeah, that's what everybody want to talk about.
And Mr. Hale, we understand the parameters of what you can talk to us about today, and we appreciate you answering the questions. We appreciate the questions you can't answer.
I do.
Please continue on with
For the project, of course, is design build, and because of design build procurement, the project will only take 4 years to construct. Normal construction for roadway projects would mean the project would be 8 or 9 years, so the design build process is quicker. The time frame for the project, construction started August of this year and will run through summer of 2017. And TxDOT will retain ownership of the project at completion, and there are no toll or managed lanes on this project. Next slide. We're doing a lot of coordination with third parties, including Dallas County and City of Dallas. As Alberta said earlier, there are many projects in the area, so we want to make sure we have good coordination to increase mobility and make sure mobility is well for this project for individuals to get to county facilities and other facilities in the area. Here's a map of the Horseshoe Project. You can see the U shape, that's why it's dubbed the Horseshoe. To look at the perimeter of the project, to the west is Sullivan Avenue, to the north is Commerce, to the south is 8th Street, and to the east is just a little past Irving. This just shows some of the proposed configuration of the project. There will be 48 traffic switches on the project for drivers and 37 bridges that will be new bridges or improved bridges, and the rest of the information here just talks about how much concrete and deck bridges we will have for the project. The Margaret McDermott Bridge, as I said earlier, is part of this project along I-30 through the Trinity or above the Trinity River. The project will have pedestrian and bicycle access, and some of the county funding is going for the construction of that access. And at the top of the bridge to the bottom of the river is 300 feet. The project schedule, we started construction early in August of this year. We plan to have most of the construction, main lines, direct connectors, and frontage roads completed in February of 2017. And then the Margaret McDermott Bridge completed in April 2017. And to give the project roadway back over to TxDOT in May or June of 2017. Then just go through some of the phasing. For the project, most of the work that we're doing now is outside of the project, so it's new bridges, outside the roadways, so we are not affecting drivers that much with lane closures. Then the next phase will be to, you can do the next slide please. The next phase will be to switch traffic onto the new roadway bridges and start removing some of the existing bridges. Then the next phase will continue to have removal and reconstruction of existing roadway. And then reconstruction of the mix master, and then next is the final construction complete for the project. Early construction, we do have construction going on now, mostly on the frontage roads and outside the roadway. At 1 you see is over by Sullivan area. We have frontage road construction there. 2 is where Margaret McDermott Bridge will be, and we have outside the roadway construction for the bridges. 3 is the Commerce off-ramp, where we have construction starting around early December, and we'll discuss that later in the presentation. Then 4 is our collector distributor roads and frontage roads on I-30 going westbound. Then 5 is near Colorado, where we have some bridge work outside the roadway, and 6 is near 8th Street, where we will be also doing frontage road construction there. So that's our early construction for this year. Just want to talk about traffic impacts and lane closures that we have going on and will have upcoming that could affect some of the drivers. The HOV lanes on I-35E were closed in early September. Those lanes will remain closed until the project's completion in 2017. Then we have major lane closures coming up near Sullivan this Wednesday, tomorrow. I-30 eastbound frontage road on Sullivan will be closed at night, so it's a night closure, and we do have detour routes for the residents to take if it's traveling during that hours. Also on I-30 going westbound near the convention center will be construction on the South Lamar off-ramp or on-ramp there, and that will start probably later in December. Then I-30 Commerce, so going I-30 eastbound and exiting off the Commerce off-ramp. We're looking at doing construction in that area after the JFK celebration, so probably around December 2nd. And completing that construction the end of March before the Final Four starts in April. And then around the Fleming Place, 8th Street, We're going to be doing construction on the on-ramp at 8th Street, combine it with the Fleming on-ramp there near County High School. And then in early next year, probably around February or March, there will be construction on I-35 for the Colorado northbound on-ramp and off-ramp. And all these closures will be communicated to the public and drivers and local residents. Just to get in a little bit more detail about these closures, here's the one on I-30, the frontage road going eastbound on Sullivan. As I said, this will be a night closure for a few nights this week, and we do have to show the detour routes for residents in that area. It shouldn't impact the traffic on the highway, just some of the residents in the area for a few nights. Then on going 30 westbound near the convention center, the on-ramp at Lamar will be construction in this area, and we're looking at construction for this in end or mid-December. Then Commerce off-ramp, so I-30 eastbound, and then going north to take the Commerce off-ramp, as I said earlier. We're looking at construction in this area early December and having construction completed by the end of March. And then this is our Commerce detour where we're going to have drivers exit on I-30 to Riverfront and then go up Riverfront to Reunion to the frontage road to meet Commerce. So that will be the detour for the next 3 or 4 months. And then the 8th Street Fleming closure we talked about, where we have construction on the 8th Street on-ramp, combined it with the Fleming on-ramp. This map is showing many of the projects in the areas. Alberta mentioned there are many roadway projects, some are county, some are city, that will be going on in this area, and that's why we're making sure to have good coordination so that the public can get to their facilities that they need to, especially some of the county facilities.
Because you'll be keeping us apprised, I would think, of upcoming closures because of just the proximity of so many of our county buildings. And I know that you will do everything in your power to do things on weekends and evenings to lessen the inconvenience of number of workers in addition to the residential impact in some of the other areas. But we see where all of our buildings are and where the work is going to be done.
And we're working closely with Public Works on this coordination, yes. We also have a lot of tools that we're using to communicate this information to the public. We want to make sure drivers, the residents, businesses are aware of what's going on and have immediate information. We have a project website at dallashorseshoe.com. We also have a project hotline, 214-FIX-MIXD, where individuals can call if they have questions or need information. We have text messaging. You can text Dallas Horseshoe at 31996 and be added to our text alerts. We also have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and information email. And residents and businesses can also come to our storefront Monday through Friday. The offices are located off of Continental and Riverfront. So they can come in 8 to 5, speak to a project representative, and we can discuss the maps and projects with them anytime. This is some of the public information that we're putting out there, some of our newsletters, website information. Most of the information we have is in English and Spanish. And then we are doing many public meetings, of course, quarterly briefings to Dallas County, City of Dallas, and other neighborhood associations, having a quarterly community meeting. We had one last night at Methodist Hospital. And then we have many partner meetings, such with first responders, travel and tourism, so the big event facilities downtown. We're coordinating also with their events to make sure there's mobility during that time. This is just our open house we had in August, and as I said earlier, we had an open house last night. Then for the DBE program, we have many different resources. We're trying to increase participation on the DBE program, get firms interested in the project, help them understand how to bid the projects. Highway construction is a lot different than vertical construction, so we want to bring them in here, understand TxDOT policies and procedures. First, we have online registration, so any DBE firm interested in the project can register with us online.
Why are you saying DBE as opposed to WMDB? It's not the same.
Right. For TxDOT, DBE participation is what they count towards their goal and what the program is focused for, but minority and women-owned firms can participate.
Come again, I was trying to think why it's not the same.
No, it's not. It's a different certification. And TxDOT, as I said earlier, counts DBE participation. They don't count minority or woman certification of any other kind besides DBE.
And they do that.
It's a tied certification. Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry.
Is it different, or is it, what are the differences? I don't understand.
Well, DBEs, they look at personal net worth for the owners and revenue of the project and require them to be small businesses.
Yeah. Okay.
So for the DB program, we also list on the website all the procurement opportunities, bids, so vendors know when something is going to bid. We also have a one-on-one meeting program that any DB firm can contact us, meet with project representatives on a one-on-one basis, so we can learn more about their services, and then they can understand what the bid requirements are and when the bids will be issued.
Well, what does the universe do when you go to DBE versus WBE? What happens to the universe?
It decreases.
Yes, significantly.
Yes.
It decreases.
But the pool of DBEs is smaller than MWBs because of the different certification requirements like the personal network and small business rules.
And TxDOT uses that because of what?
I'm not certain the reason.
Okay, Mr. Hale?
The federal and state requirements of law how you set up disadvantaged businesses. They're rolled under, all disadvantaged businesses under the same program. The program has to be commercially useful function, meaning they perform 30% of the work that they do in the project. And that's a federal and state law requiring us to do that.
And that's 8%.
The goal is set by the available DVDs in the area.
And the floor is 8% on that. So
Each project is analyzed specifically. That's a good example. We have over $12 billion worth of work in construction right now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. LBJ got 12.12. It was the first to go. As we went down the horseshoe, we dropped it to 8 because of the number of available DVDs in the area. That I-35E project up there between Dallas and 380, that's got 6% on it. It's because the available DVDs in the area are not available. And we're trying to increase that number by removing any obstacles to get certified and give the opportunity to get more contractors on board to do that.
What's the difference? What's the shrinkage from WMBE to MDBE in the universe in the area?
As you drop down in each one of those classifications, you drop the percentage that's available in that area. So the federal and state law requires a DVE, so it includes WBE. I mean, under it would be WBEs, MBEs, small businesses, inclusive of all of those groups that can actually perform this thing. All of them required to provide the same information to DVE qualified.
Could we just have additional information on the criteria and the differences between the two programs? I'm not sure whose area.
Commissioners, the difference between DBE and MWBE is DBE is based on it's an economic calculation, the person's wealth, the person's worth, whereas MWBE has both the race and the gender classifications. As you know, December 10th, we're going to kick off our disparity study, which will include the availability of MWBEs in the area, not necessarily DBEs. And the gentleman is correct, DBEs is because of the federal monies in TxDOT. They don't use MWBE classification because they're concerned about issues of law, but use DBE.
But we can do both, right? I mean, we can do our DBE with our federal dollars, and we can also have our goal.
You have the goals. You set the goal based on DVE availability. You go above that, and that's what we like to do, what we can do available. The numbers, when you start talking about 30, 40, that goes in the HUVs go with you, add it all up, you start getting the available. So that when you have a DVE, it's a commercially useful function. When you have the availability of all procurements, then you start adding it up to that. The contract, I recognize this DVE, this is contract.
To be a federal prescription, for instance, if we said we want to make it a goal beyond our DVE goals, we want to make it a goal to the extent possible to get work to non-economically disadvantaged minority businesses. There wouldn't be a law against that, everything we do this to do it. And the reason I bring that up, and this is Frank said he would bring it up, I suppose, but here's the thing. We talked a few minutes ago, our county's 63% non-Anglo. Here's one thing about diversity, okay? When businesses succeed and when kids see people that look like them succeed, people that are in their neighborhoods, went to their high school, sit next to them in their church, succeed and own something. That means something. Even if that person is relatively well off, it doesn't qualify for your DBE. So I would love to continue to work. I know we're working on the Columbia, and I want to say this about textiles. You guys have been great to work with on this. Phil Wilson, you personally, but if we're focusing just on the economically disadvantaged, there's a piece that I'd like to focus on that's missing from that discussion, and that is leaders and business owners that look like our population here. And I'm not talking about a quota system, I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm just talking about where we've got qualified people that can do the work. I'd really like us to take a look at how we can work together as partners to push that as well.
Part of the initiative, Ms. Blair mentioned earlier, the workforce, part of the element, including the DBE and the initiative we're working with the Department of Food Program, is the workforce side of it. And that workforce in the area, down in the southern area, around us, is a high unemployment area, and the idea to get those in the workforce with this project. And then have it look, if you hire 100 folks, and you're expecting 3 or 4 of them to become contractors and pay and work with that, and that whole cycle is not the intent of the Department of Food Program.
And if you hire some firms that already have some of those people working, guess what? They can hire some more.
Yeah, there is power in seeing, and there's power in role models, and we're missing something if we're just doing
But when you talk, it's interesting though. When you say that, I hear the forky tongue. When we talk about it, we talk about it in terms of us including. You said, well, we kind of preempt that. It's no quota system. Really? I mean, I got that. Ain't no quota system. Nobody's talking about quotas. We're talking about giving people real opportunities, to be included in the process. I mean, that's what we talk about. And I just love it, the fact, see, isn't it interesting you talk about the 635 project, 12%, and then you come down to the Horseshoe project, and it's 8%. You keep talking about that availability. But if you'll recall, when we did NCTA, it talked about the Anglo-Man availability was something like, 36%? My number's upstairs. But he was getting 80% of the work. They don't seem to ever have no problem. They don't seem to run out. They do fine. It's always, it just ain't enough of it.
Can we go back to what the judge was talking about? Because we've got two different metrics here, from what I understand. And that doesn't mean that we can't be monitoring both of the metrics. Is that true?
The metrics is contractors, workforce, and the contractors, members contractors, that's what we tend to do. There's also 2 elements in there. One's services procurement, this is professional engineers, things like that. The other side is the low bid process, which is 90% of what we're doing here. The low bid process requires application. And to get a project, you have to require bidding low bid. And bidding low on this contract, as well as any other ones on that side of it. If you're not the low bid, you need the project. So you can put the goal out there. You ask for low prices, but if the price comes in high, you and the DBE will not have to. So the idea is you work to get that submitted.
So can we monitor them both? Because as I understand from Mr. Heifel, one's an economic measure and one takes in other factors of the contractors, right? So can we monitor both of those to address both sides of the issue, both the federal and state law, but then also the reality of working in Dallas County?
And that's really what this program that Michael Bush is working and $1 text out to the project is working on that part. That starts the workforce side and carries over into the business side. So the idea is this workforce and start helping contractors.
And I know that you want to work with all of us on this particular piece of this incredible project.
But again, see, I just asked about, architect engineer on the design side. What was the minority procurement, DBE on the design side? 8%. It is a different measure. It is a different measure. I got it. But in construction, architecture, engineering, I'm looking at the diversity that in the NTTA use basically those same numbers.
No, our federal NTTA dollars does not require federal dollars. In that case, it doesn't follow federal requirements. They're going to just throw in HUVs and DVs and the whole scenario.
It appears as though you want to say something. I want to hear you. And who are you?
I'm Adrienne Williams, and I'm one of the staff members for the contractor Pegasus Link Constructors. So we are working all in partnership. Just wanted to clarify a couple of things to answer your question, Commissioner Gaines. The DBE is a federal program of Department of Transportation projects. So all transportation-related projects that have federal money will require DB Gold. We are required to adhere to that as a federal project, which is the 8% that Bill had mentioned. But in addition, as a local project, we're well aware of our need to increase diversity in that initiative. And so we are also tracking the MWD participation as well. You have mentioned and kind of alluded to that, but we're making sure we are on top of that. The percentage that Katrina's presenting to you today, Commissioner Price, is pretty primarily design. We're about 10% in of the project, so that most of those lower tier 6% that you're hearing are from our architect and engineer minority DBE firms. And so we are tracking MWB, most of who are DBE, but again, DBE does have a more strict scrutiny where some people don't want to release their personal network or the financials that are required. But again, we are tracking MWBE participation for those who may not be certified. So we are doing dual tracking on this project. And again, the numbers you're hearing, we're just getting into early points of construction, so that number should continue to grow, Commissioner Price, as well.
We'll be monitoring that, and I'm sure working with you as far as where that is going as the project proceeds.
So for the DB program, we, as I said earlier, are having one-on-one meetings with DBEs. So far, the project has been with 85 different DBEs talking about different construction opportunities that are coming up. December, we will start a opportunities training program for DBE firms. It's a 9-month program for firms to, like I said earlier, understand more how to do work on heavy highway construction, what are the requirements, and how to strengthen their businesses in the heavy highway industry. And that project will start in December of this year and go throughout next year. Next slide. This is just pictures from one of our DBE events. We've had 2 outreach events for DBEs to have them come out and learn more about the project and meet with the project team. Next slide. And then just some of our marketing materials for the one-on-one meetings. And then our opportunities training program in December. And then our procurement schedule that is on the website showing when the major construction procurement will take place. And that's the completion of our overview of the Horseshoe Project. Be happy to take any additional questions that you do have.
Apparently he can't answer them now, so I'll wait.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to seeing what the impact is going to be on the busiest area in Dallas County.
Well, thank you. And of course, we will be happy to work closely with Public Works and the MWD Department on both of the issues for the project.
I'd like to see those, 32 DVEs that you have.
We can send it to you.
What they, well, send it to, Ms. Bland.
Okay.
And, you know, just filter everything through her.
Okay.
I'd love to see it.
Thank you very much. We can get that to you this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me say this about this project, one thing that I am very pleased and very excited about. You know, if you're coming from Fort Worth right now and you wanted to go south, your option is to get off at Riverfront, drive by some liquor stores and a closed down Topless Pork Bar, and get up on the highway where Fuel City is. If you're coming from south and you want to go to Fort Worth, your option is to get off by a gas station, drive by Fuel City, look for an exit that's poorly marked, and get on to 30. And people wonder why economic development stagnated over a 50-year period south of 30. You have 3 lanes zipping you north, but you got to drive down Old Industrial Avenue through stoplights just to get south. That always struck me even as a little kid is odd. And we're finally fixing that. So this is going to be, we got another project we're going to do next called the Gateway Project. It's the Gateway South at 35 and 67. But to me, this is really the front door project. This finally opens up and gives a fair shot at traffic flow and economic development south of I-30. And we've got to continue to work to push infrastructure south of I-30 because 39% of our people live south of I-30, but 19% of our taxable value is south of I-30. We're seeing growth south of I-30, $3 billion in the last 3 years in taxable value. And this should expedite that. And I'm pleased that TxDOT recognizes that and is partnering with us on that.
Thank you. Next item is budget, item 2. This item actually will be briefed in court order next week. It was inadvertently left off the public agenda, so we cannot discuss it at this time. We'll bring that back next week. Health and Human Services, item 4, approve the award of fiscal year Ryan White Parlay supplemental funds to service providers presented in attachment A and briefing. Item 5, approve the award of fiscal year 2013 Ryan White Part A formula funds to service providers listed in the attachment A and briefing. Item 6, approve utilization of the BioRad Laboratory Inc. for provision of ranges, Evolus instrumentation. Information technology, item 7, authorize the personal services contract with Austin Ribbon and Computer for the services of Michael Rogers from December 2nd, 2013 to February 10, 2014. Juvenile number 8, recommends approval of the drug court magistrate position and associated travel and training costs and enter a professional services contract with Judge George Ashford for fiscal year 2014. Next item, operations. Item 9, authorize Dallas County Judge to execute a lease agreement with Mulix Investments for 14,028 square feet of office space located at 3400 Illinois Avenue to replace the South Satellite Office for CSCD. Public Works, item 10, approve
Those numbers are pretty much the same, aren't they, Ryan? In terms of are they pretty budget, budget neutral?
We'll end up with a much better facility.
Oh, no, I got it. But I think that needs to be said, but, no qualms on the facility. Okay.
Public Works, item 10, approve transfer of funds from Dallas County Road Bridge number 4, account number 46410 for MCIP Fund 196 Project A201 for the excavation services performed on the Walnut Hill Lane MCIP project. Item 11, accept the offer for purchase of taxable closing property.
What district is that? Did I miss something? What district is that?
Says Road and Bridge 4 in the briefing.
It is 4. Walnut Hill? Okay.
Item 11, accept the offer for purchase of taxable closing property at 3703 Concord Circle in Baltimore Spring, Texas. Authorize the sale of property by quick claim deed. Item 12, accept the offer from Next Lots Now LLC for the purchase of vacant taxable closing property at 1665 Marcellus Road, Lancaster, Texas. Item 13, accept the offer from Next Lots LLC for purchase of vacant tax foreclosure property at 3712 Waterville, Lancaster, Texas. Purchasing. Item 14, authorize award of bid for the annual contract for the purchase of original equipment to manufacture automotive parts and accessories for passenger vehicles and light-duty trucks. The Sand Tax 4, that's Section 1. Section 2, we have a tie that we need the judge to break. In Section 3, Dallas price of Jeep is the lowest best bid, meeting all specifications for that section of the bid. And at this time, Shannon, you want to do the tie breaker for Section 2?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gerald. We have two items to address. We have the Section 2 tie break, and also, Judge, there was a registered speaker for the recommendation on Section 4.
Oh, okay.
So it's...
But you need to lay it out. You need to lay it out.
Okay.
The difference between your recommendation and the cost and cost of convenience.
What we'll do is, as Gerald mentioned, this is for OEM parts. There was done in three sections, one for Ford, one for General Motors, and one for Dodge. The item in question right now is Section 1, which is for our Ford OEM parts. You can see the four bidders that submitted pricing. The way this contract is set up is that we ask them to submit the pricer that from the manufacturer and then let us know what additional costs they would put on top of that. The low bid was submitted by Gilly Hyde Ford Lincoln out of Kentucky, and they said that they would give us those parts at no additional markup to Ford's cost. And the Sand Tax 5-star Ford, located here in Dallas County, gave us a price of, they would add 2%. Part of the recommendation part of the bid specifications did require that there is a need for Dallas County to pick up parts to be able to get cars back on the road as quickly as possible. And based on that requirement, the purchasing department, in conjunction with the Auto Service Center, is recommending that we go with Sand Tax with their local presence rather than with Gilly Hyde. Gilly Hyde can't meet their requirement to deliver within 3 days for parts that can be delivered, but roughly, according to ASC, about 50% of the time we actually need to go pick up a part in order to get a vehicle back.
You can't do both, right? You can't, like, do one for mail, one for pickup.
You don't know what, that's not operational.
I think that would cause some operational concerns for our staff. But I did note that you did have a registered speaker. The county is required, when we are running for other bid, we are required to notify that firm to give them an opportunity to present additional information to you. So a copy of that letter was included in the documentation. And then again, so Judge, you may want to hear from I don't know if you want to hear from the speaker first, or if you want to break the tie bid for the General Motors parts.
Oh, let's go ahead and speak. We've already had the rules of decorum read, so Mr. Bradley Atwell, please come forward. Bradley, same thing I told the other speaker. You're going to state your name and address, and up here on these screens you'll see what looks like a traffic light when you get started. When it's green, usually within 2.5 minutes. When it goes to yellow, you get 30 seconds. When it goes to red, we ask that you finish your darker sentences and stuff. Right, Bradley, please state your name and address.
My name is Bradley Atwell, 1600 Valley Road, Glasgow, Kentucky. Our company, Gilly Hyde Ford Lincoln Incorporated, placed a bid on solicitation 2014 106391. On November 14, 2013, we received a letter from Mr. Samuel Cooper, the buyer, which stated that there was a low bid on Section 1 OEM Ford parts, but our company was not being recommended for award due to non-compliance with the bid specifications. This time, I reviewed the specifications and failed to see where our company was not compliant, so I called Mr. Cooper. He stated that fleet employees like to pick up parts the same day from the supplier, and we did not indicate in the bid a local warehouse, therefore our bid was ruled as non-compliant. While I can understand the desire to have parts the same day as ordered, and I will address how our company can assist in this matter, the bid specifications clearly state on page 10, section 215, that delivery is required within 3 business days after the receipt of a valid purchase order. There's no mention in the bid specifications that same-day delivery or a pickup location is required. Therefore, I contend that our bid, placed in good faith, is compliant with the specifications.
Even though it is not specified as a requirement in this bid, I'm certainly willing to accommodate for parts to be available same day and for pickup. While our firm does not own the store or distribution center in the Dallas area, being a Ford dealer, we have the ability to pull from Ford authorized distribution warehouses in any region of the United States. We can provide same-day service from over 15 Ford authorized distributor locations in the Dallas area for your fleet. I would have detailed this in the bid document on submission if same-day delivery or pickup was noted as being required. However, this type of arrangement is not needed for us to meet the 3-day delivery that was specified in the bid. I've attached a list of references that include state, county, and federal government agencies that we currently provide Ford OEM parts for their fleets, including the U.S. Air Force operations in the USA and Middle East. Please contact any of our government fleet customers for reference about our company and our ability to perform for your fleet. Dillingham Ford has been family owned and operated for 60 years. We have a team of dedicated, knowledgeable parts professionals with a separate warehousing facility specifically for government parts operations. For 2013, we ranked 15th out of approximately 4,000 Ford dealers for government parts sales. Since this bid tabulation was previously not released, I cannot speak of exactly the amount of taxpayer dollars that we would save Dallas County versus the second place bidder. However, I would ask that the Commissioners Court consider that we can provide the same parts, the same products within the bid specifications at less cost to Dallas County. Please consider our proposal, and I ask for reconsideration of the rejection of our low bid. We would be honored to provide Ford OEM parts to your fleet and ask for the opportunity to earn your trust. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Are you telling me we can provide parts for pickup on the same day?
Yes, sir, we can.
On a regular basis, if they need?
Yes.
Same day or next day, depending on when the order's placed.
That's correct. Yes, sir, depending on what time of day the order is placed.
Judge Shannon?
Judge and Commissioners, I'll need to, two things I think we need to make sure that we haven't provided you, which is the requirement for the local, which was section 2.17. We will, I don't have that here.
Requirement for the what?
For the local, the availability
The
of
local
pickup.
store.
Yes.
Some local places.
Yes, to show that was a requirement that we had here.
But he just said they could do that.
Well, we'll have to see, I need to go back and look at their specific, how they responded to that they would be able to do that. This is, I believe this is new information.
It is, that is correct. And
Yeah, I'd like to see that, because what he's quoting here is FOB destination, the location indicated on the purchase order within 3 business days.
And there was a requirement, as I stated earlier, there was a requirement for items that were ordered to have them delivered 3 business days. That was not the concern. The concern was the additional requirement further down in the bid specifications that required a local store clerk pickup.
And are you saying that did they respond to that portion?
I know that their bid response did not indicate that local availability, and that is thus the new information that's being provided here today that we would need to have.
That is correct, and I can speak to that too if I may. In the bid, there was a question of whether our firm had a local location and asked for the address of that, which I did not provide anything because we do not have that. But being a Ford dealer, we can be with those Ford authorized distributors, which others more than 15 separate locations within the Dallas area, to where if they placed an order with our firm, any of those locations could deliver or they could pick up from those locations here locally.
Now, the value of this bid is?
The value of the overall bid for all 3 types of parts is approximately $200,000.
Okay. And the delta between the second?
The estimate that we made based on former purchases was $3,600.
So you'll look at that and get that back to us.
Yes, sir. We'll have that information before we put the order on the report. But we will need to get a copy of the information provided today, since that is the information.
Right.
And then Judge will need to respond. So the tie is for section 2, which is general motors parts.
Right.
So, with that,
justice. All right. And the winning bid is Friendly Chevrolet.
So Friendly Chevrolet will be added to the court order for next week's agenda. So that's the only items for this particular item.
Thank you. Item 15, authorize the award of bid for the annual contract for the repair and replacement of automotive transmissions to ASM Pro Inc. doing business as T&K Automotive Specialists as the lowest and best bidder, meeting all bid specifications. Item 16, recognize and authorize the attached list of jewelry items to be representative of the items to be sold in multiple sequential online auctions. Item 17, Sheriff, approve the renewal of the Courtesy Patrol interlocal agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation, authorize the county judge to sign all documents. Judge, that concludes your briefing agenda. If there are no questions on information or miscellaneous, you do have one speaker left.
Before we leave this section, I'd like to take just a moment.
Sure.
One of the items that we see frequently in this area is, for example, on information technology, a number of requests to address situations in our IT system here in Dallas County. I would like to make note that this past weekend was an incredible, good milestone period for the IT for Dallas County. In perspective, there were 3 major accomplishments made, and I think that we ought to recognize Mr. Victram and all of the people that make that possible. One of the items was the Texas juvenile application was upgraded to version 1.9.1 for the county juvenile department, which means that now I think, and Dr. Smith may have more information on that we are now on the right pathway to
that is correct, Commissioner. We're excited about that, and while I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Karen Ramos. Stand up. She's the one who, her and her team have just kind of commandeered and taken this over and made sure that we had a smooth transition, along with an incredible IT team and a lot of partners with CDC. But Ms. Ramos works directly with the juvenile department, done an outstanding job of ensuring that go live went off without a hit. So we're really excited about that in the next chapter.
We take all the good news that we can get. So that was the one point that was a milestone that was reached this past weekend. The second was the migration of the county mainframe application function to the new Malabar, Florida data center, which is looking forward to Dallas County being better equipped to handle the volume and handle the types of IT work that we are involved with at this point in history. So congratulations to that set of folks.
Work in progress, correct?
Not done yet, but
We certainly appreciate the actual end users that work with us on that. We got everything ready to basically go, but we ran into a small problem with the connectivity, so we went ahead and actually rescheduled that for the 7th of December. Then once we basically iron out that connectivity point, everything else seems to be ready to go, and we'll basically get ready to move the mainframe function to the data center there in Malabar, Florida.
But that is a huge step forward in that process. As you say, we're not quite done yet. We probably will never be done with IT, but it was definitely moving forward. And the third item was the rollout this week of the Texas e-filing initiative by the county as we prepare for the mandatory rollout by January 1st, 2014. So on three major areas, advancements were made successfully, and that's always, I think, take those moments to share the good news and thank you for the work that you do, Mr. Bertram, as well as the dozens upon dozens of people here in Dallas and around the state and in Florida who are working together to make these things successful.
Yes, ma'am. Certainly, we thank the court certainly for their support. Certainly, if it had not been for the court's support and guidance in these initiatives, obviously would not have come to pass. Certainly, we also like to thank all the people that work in IT that, as I say, they take ordinary resources and do extraordinary things. And certainly we want to thank obviously our business partners and the departments because obviously the systems are there as well. We're just the stewards of them. And so we need for their patience in there and obviously giving us that talents that to go not to do all these UATs, user acceptance tests. So certainly it's very much a partnership. We're very excited about the time that we're going to hear in Dallas County.
Thanks for the milestones, and we're not done yet, so keep the big ones coming.
And I'll thank Commissioner Daniels for moving these projects forward too, and I appreciate your involvement in everything that you've done there, and Dr. Smith and Karen, thank y'all, because that's a key component to where we're at. So that's, that kind of signifies everything on the JCMS side.
Back to the regular schedule.
And we have one remaining speaker, and that is Mr. Jay Gaines. Mr. Jay Gaines. Hi, Ms. Gaines.
How are you?
Doing well. You? Same thing as we told the other speakers. Just check for the red light up there. All right. And please state your name and address. We'll get started.
My name is Jay Gaines. I reside at P.O. Box 741002, Dallas, 75374. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for allowing me this time to address you. I am here today after a lengthy meeting with Mr. Roy Williams in terms of mentoring me in some of the issues that I want to deal with for the city of Dallas. I'm a single mother of 4 children, with my youngest child currently serving in the U.S. military in South Korea. I made Dallas my home in the year 2000, and I've been blessed during my time in Dallas to serve as a speaker, a nurse, an author, and a real estate investor. In my role as a real estate investor with the Lonigan Law Firm, I teach a group of over 150 women how to become financially independent through investing in real estate. I see a need aggressively in the 3rd and 4th district for repurposing vacant real estate. There are so many vacant homes, land, and buildings in need of repair. They are available as performing housing that would be aggressive employment, lift the self-esteem of the individuals in these communities. And as a result of that, I have formed a team of people that deal with credit repair, mortgage brokering, financial counseling, and consultants to assist low-income to moderate families, single parents, and hardworking immigrants to our cities to accomplish a desire to fulfill a need and a vision of home ownership. I am seeking support, guidance, and assistance through the proper channels for funding to achieve the purchase and rehab to improve and revitalize these areas. My mission is to empower, educate, and create, again, pride of ownership within these communities. Thank you.
And that concludes our public speaking. We'll now move to closed session. Layla, could you, let's, a couple of deputies go out there between the closed session and here. Check that if you please. And we'll move to closed session. Any matters discussed in the closed session will be voted on in a previous, in a subsequent open session.